of Customs and Excise Service Tax Goa for enabling me, for inviting me to this seminar, or in holding this seminar. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner sir. Just give us a 2 minutes break. We will have the presentation set. We now welcome Mr. Kennedy to give his presentation to us today. We are running about 45 minutes late, so maybe the question and answers question may be squeezed, but at the comfort level of the speaker, you could then have the interactive session, or first listen to his presentation and then have your question and answers.
The profound Jesuit priest and saint Francis Xavier, I salute his memories and begin this presentation. Why we went for this new approach? There are many in the media and outside who describe that the changes which have taken place are fit to be known as a paradigm shift. A paradigm shift means one in which your concepts and theories and the way you understand itself undergoes a total change. That is why it is called as a paradigm shift. Now, secondly, the old approach, why we had to give up. In the positivist approach, we had number of issues and problems. Litigations were mounting. At the core of the old approach to taxation of services were the 119 definition of taxable services. They were supported by another 150 definitions which were supporting these definitions of taxable services. Altogether we had about 300 definitions in the Act itself. Understanding these definitions posed a problem for the taxpayer. Interpreting these definitions and limits of these definitions created an issue for the taxpayer, in itself leading to litigation. Therefore, we had to move towards a new approach. Now we had number of definitions, as all of you know. We started with the telephone service, telecommunication service, it was expanded to subsequently. One by one pager service was added. You all know that now there is no more pager. People would have forgotten it. Once there was something called a pager service, service tax on pager. So gradually it was expanded and the telephone service itself became a telecommunication service and service tax was levied on that. We had what is called as a business auxiliary service, business support service, and gradually we moved towards the 119th services we had on short-term accommodation, and then we had on restaurants with license to serve liquor and air conditioned. So 119 services were defined in the Act. The definitions were having the formula, a basic formula of mean, inclusion and exclusion. That means every service definition would start by saying that this means this, but includes this and excludes this. So the bordering was about a dispute between what is inclusion and what exclusion. Some people would say that my service falls under the exclusion. Some will come and say that my service falls under the inclusion. So there were a lot of disputes regarding the inclusions and exclusions. And apart from this, what is the new approach, which is referred to as paradigm shift by everybody? New approach in the taxation of services. The new approach to taxation of services is best exemplified in section 66B, which is the charging section, where you will get all the concepts which are involved in the new approach together in one place. First I will read out the section and then we will go into each and every concept which makes the new approach. It says, there shall be levied a tax at 12% on the value of all services. The key word here is all services, other than services in the negative list, provided or agreed to be provided in the taxable territory by one person to another collected in the manner prescribed. Concepts, how they are interlinked. The new concepts are interlinked like this. At the core of the new concepts, we have the definition of service. This is section 65B, clause 44. I have a definition of service which is at the core of the entire new approach. And this definition of service is supported by negative list and declared services. Negative list of services is provided in section 66D and declared services is provided in section 66E. Why negative list service? Why negative list is supporting the definition? Because in the charging section itself we are saying that our tax is leviable only on the services which are not in the negative list. So therefore negative list supports my definition of service. And next comes the declared service, where I specify that certain services have a taxable territory which is found in section 66B, and section 65B clause 52 defines this taxable territory. On the top of it, I have place rules which tells the person how to find out that whether a particular service is provided in the taxable territory or not. And therefore, the liability of tax will be determined accordingly in the case of cross-border transactions. Again, in one particular place, service is nothing but activity for consideration. However, it is not mere image. Mere immovable property, money, actionable claim, goods and employee. So not mere image, but for that, service is an activity for consideration. And on the top of it stands taxable territory, negative list and the exemptions. So that will determine whether a service is taxable or not. So once the service, the logical steps to be followed are, the service has to be done in the taxable territory, number one. It is liable to tax. Then one has to check whether it is found in the negative list or not. Then one has to check whether it is exempted in the exempt list or not. In the what is called as exempt list is the notification which we have issued, which is called as the mega exemption notification, which is generally known as mega exemption, and which we have issued on the 20th of June 2000. The core of the new approach, what does service mean? Service means any activity carried out by a person for another for consideration. The ideas are very clear here. Activity and consideration. These are the two ideas which are not defined, which has the ordinary meaning, a direct and immediate link between activity and the consideration. That is, consideration is all we know, is a quid pro quo paid for the activity, and the idea is that holistically to arrive at consideration, you should add both monetary and non-monetary considerations. Now, in the definition of service, we have three components: inclusion, exclusion and explanations. The inclusions are, in the definition it says, it includes the declared services. I will go in detail into the declared services later on. And then we have exclusions. The exclusions are transfer of title in property, immovable property or goods. Then goods, if they are deemed, we talked about mere transfer of title. Now in the exclusion we have found transfer of title, and transfer of title can be in reference to goods and immovable property. So literally transfer of title amounts to transfer of ownership. So transfer of title involving goods and immovable property can take place in three ways. Either it can be through sale, it can be taken place through gift, or it can be taken place through any other manner. Now exclusion, important exclusion in the definition of service is about deemed sale. Now deemed sale is defined in Article 366(29)(a) of the Constitution. Transfer, delivery and supply. These are the three types spoken about in the article, in the Constitution. Property in goods. There are two types: otherwise done in pursuance of contract, and then execution of works contract. Execution of works contract is of importance to us. I will come to that later. And then right to use any goods. These are deemed sales where transfer of property in goods is involved, then transfer of right to use any goods is involved. So the key word is transfer here. Then delivery. In the case of hire purchase and in case of any system of payment by installments. This is another type of deemed sale spoken in the Constitution. Then you have supplies. Supplies by unincorporated association or body of persons to a member, and then supplies of food or any other article of human consumption. So these are also deemed sale, but I will come to that. From our point of view, two things are very important as we move into declared services and understand the meaning of declared services. Transfer of right to use any goods is important. Transfer of property in goods in the execution of works contract is important for us. And then supply of food or any other article of human consumption is very important because only the goods portion comes under the deemed sale. We'll look into that later and elaborately. Now, immovable property, we have taken it as if it is defined in the General Clauses Act. In the General Clauses Act, immovable property is defined as land, benefits arising out of land, things attached to earth, permanently fastened to anything attached to earth. These are the things which make immovable property. Then by money, we mean legal tender. Consideration for conversion is taxable. Only the legal tender is not taxable, but the consideration received for the conversion of money from one form to another is taxable. Then we have actionable claims as it is in the Transfer of Property Act. As we all know, a popular actionable claim is lottery. An actionable claim excludes vouchers and coupons. So therefore, if services are provided through vouchers and coupons, service tax is leviable. Then what do we mean by goods? Every kind of movable property, deemed sale excluded to the extent of value of goods. Therefore, the service component is liable to tax here. Then employer and employee, place rules. The place rules helps us to determine where actually the services are consumed. Where earlier we had what is called as import of services rules and export of services rules, but no more these are valid. We have now what is called as place rules, which is common for both import and export.